And here is the video.
Lao Tzu said that the ineffable Tao was the mother of all created things. Jesus of Nazareth taught that the Creator God was a loving Father. Hermetic teaching, especially from the Kybalion, states that gender is in everything. So let's take a look at the Divine Parent, who is both feminine and masculine. I think the most accurate way to describe it is the universal parenthood of the unified field of divine consciousness. For the sake of brevity, I will call it the Divine Parent. This is a statement that is not gender-specific but is meant to be gender-inclusive. I am basing this Hermetic principle of gender on the principle of correspondence as found in the Kybalion. The principle states, as above so below, and as below so above. The idea behind it is that here in the material plane, we can extrapolate the mental and spiritual plane based on what we see here. While we cannot know for certain the above, we can surmise the above by observing the nature of the below or the material plane. In the Kybalion, it is called the physical plane. Whether material plane or physical plane, it is simply two names for the same plane. The principle of correspondence is not just found in the Kybalion. It is in the Emerald Tablet as well, and therefore is more ancient than the 1908 Kybalion. While the 7 Hermetic principles are not explicitly mentioned in the Corpus Hermeticum, they are implied. Finally, the 7 Hermetic principles as presented in the Kybalion resonate with my intuitive self. In fact, I would go so far as to say that the Kybalion is one of the most accurate mystical or sacred texts that has been written. It was likely written by William Walker Atkinson, who was a prolific esoteric writer at the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century. I think that the principle of correspondence can be used effectively to show that the creative source, God, is love and a loving parent. It likewise can be used to show that goodness is the overarching goal of material existence on the physical plane. It also shows the likelihood of reincarnation, and that the world is indeed founded in mentation. Again, the phrase "as above so below" and "as below so above" is the surest way to extrapolate the nature of the mental and spiritual planes. To begin with, parenthood is replete within the animal kingdom and reaches its zenith with humanity. Implicit in parenthood is gender as well. Creative generation is the result of the interaction of the male and female gender. This is true even among life forms that have both within them. So if the above is the same as the below, it is only reasonable that the creative source contains both the masculine and the feminine attributes. Therefore, one can safely assume that the creative source is a divine parent. This in and of itself demands a trinity. There is the Father, the Mother, and the offspring. Within the unified field of divine consciousness, there is the masculine and feminine, that is, the genesis of individual conscious agents. This is a spiritual realm that creates through the mental realm and projects the creation in the physical realm. This is indeed the divine parent. When the author of the book of Genesis in the Bible states that humanity was created in the image of God, it must be a conscious being. There is no need to anthropomorphize the creative source. Anthropological beings are the creation, but the essence of these beings is consciousness. So, it is consciousness that makes us children of God. However, if consciousness is foundational to all reality, then the entire physical universe is the progeny of creative consciousness, or the divine parent. The divine parent is love. Once again, using the principle of correspondence, one can reason that the divine parent is love. Using the idea of as below so above, we can see that among most of humanity, the preferred state is love over hate. If on the physical plane love is preferred over hate, how much more would that be the case on the spiritual plane with the divine parent? Let me remind you that the divine parent is the universal parent of the unified field of creative consciousness. Love, joy, peace, and goodness are the default state of the unified field of divine consciousness. I put the divine in the description because the unified field of consciousness is the creative source, and it is what has historically been thought of as God or some kind of deity. We are all moving toward those traits. However, it is likewise necessary to experience the polarity of those states of being. That is the reason for the principle of polarity. Without experience the polarity of these various states of being, one could never truly appreciate the goodness of the positive poles. It should be mentioned that we, the offspring of creative consciousness, are individual conscious agents and eternal. The law of conservation of energy is a physical law that states energy cannot be created or destroyed but may be changed from one form to another. The changing from one form to another can be found in the reincarnation cycle. One can extrapolate the likelihood of reincarnation by the principle of correspondence. It can be reasoned from the as below, so above standpoint. In our natural universe that comprises the physical plane, one can see cycles everywhere. There are cycles of days and years. There is the water cycle. There is the cycle of birth, death, and renewal in plants and animals. And it is therefore necessary from the viewpoint of correspondence that there are mental and spiritual cycles as well. This necessitates that the conscious energy of an individual conscious agent is eternal, and while it can change, it cannot be destroyed. Therefore, if we as individual conscious agents, previously referred to as souls, are eternal, then the only eternal impact that any one incarnation has on the individual is experience and the growth of experiential knowledge. That is the purpose of the physical plane and how the three great planes interact in the expansion of experiential knowledge. The great spiritual plane is potential knowledge. The great mental plane is creative potential, and the great physical plane is the experience of the potential knowledge which results in the infinite expansion of the universe. The principle of correspondence can provide even more insight into the divine parent and its relationship to individual conscious agents or souls. This again is approaching it from the as below, so above aspect of the principle of correspondence. The divine parent, being the creative source of conscious offspring, corresponds to the idea of families here in the physical plane. It is where we can get glimpses of the cosmic spiritual family that we are a part of. It is important to look at the overall trends in the development of the family and not specific cases that deviate from the trend. They are simply examples of polarity meant to show the benefit of the majority of cases. First, it can be understood by example that most parents love and protect their children. Of course, this has been progressive, mostly on an upward spiral over history. Since loving and protecting offspring is preferred over not doing so, it is easy to theorize that at the level of the great spiritual plane, love and protection is preferred, and the goal of our experience on the physical plane. The goal is to grow in an upward spiral toward love and protection. We can also see in the material family the trend for siblings to love and protect one another, and like the parent-offspring relationship, there are exceptions providing polarity. This too is to provide the understanding of what is preferred, and one can then accurately theorize that the same is true on the great spiritual plane. The goal is for individual conscious agents, souls, to progress on an upward spiral toward love and protection of each other. Finally, one can see in the physical family that each individual can petition the parents or the siblings for help when needed. I need not fail to mention that the overall trend is for parents and siblings to offer help to those requests, and the exceptions are simply an example of polarity to establish that help is preferred. It can then be theorized that at the great spiritual plane, offering help for petitions is the general order. In each one of these examples, the participants, the individual conscious agents, souls, are eternal, and the outcome of any one incarnation does not have eternal implications outside of experiences gained and lessons learned. This makes room for the exceptions that present polarity to the experience. To sum it up, one can be sure that the creative source parent is love, and that joy, peace, patience, and goodness are the highest qualities and the evolutionary goal of all conscious agents, souls, as they traverse the many incarnations of experience. We can meditate and pray. We can expect supernatural help in many cases. We can truly believe that in the long run, all things do work toward the good, toward the upward advancement of the physical plane. We can likewise be assured that there is an egalitarian outcome for all conscious agents or souls. This eliminates the idea of punishment and emphasizes the idea of growth. If this resonates with you, please like, subscribe, comment, and share.